Oh yeah, I've waited a very long time for this thing. Because for 20 points in spring of the hot season in Series 29, you can go ahead and get yourself the GTA Spano, often affectionately referred to as the Spanner. Now this is a happy little Spaniard, this car, because of course the Spaniard company is Spanish, and also it looks interesting, I've got to say. It's an interesting front to it. Kind of looks like, I want to say maybe an early version of the Rimac Concept 1. Going to the side, it looks pretty cool with a little swoosh bit of the side, and going to the back, it's not too bad. I like the way the lights look, they look very cool to me, and the rear light is just below the license plate for some reason. Going to the inside, it does look pretty good. For a car from 2016, I'm surprised there's a lot less stuff in here, but oh well. And now let's go ahead and have a look at the stats, because I totally didn't forget to do that. This thing has got a whopping 912 horsepower from stock, 899 foot-pounds of torque, and weighs just a shade under 3,200 pounds. It's got a 42% weight displacement, and also an engine size of nearly 8 litres. And now let's go take a listen. So here we are now over in the upgrade shop. We're going to jump straight to conversion because unfortunately this time there's no engine swaps for this thing, but we can go ahead and make this thing all-wheel drive, which we will do in just a little bit. As for aero and appearance, going to the front, sadly it is just Forza aero at the front, and I've got a feeling it's going to be the same for the back. Yep, just a Forza wing for the back, which is a little bit of a shame, but I'd like to have seen maybe like a custom Forza wide body for this thing. Could have been cool. Now, interestingly, for a car with 900 brake horsepower from stock, it starts out on sport tyres, so we're just going to go ahead and upgrade that a little bit. Mostly because I prefer having traction. However, you can go ahead and do a whole lot more with the engine. In fact, let's take a listen to this stock exhaust note real quick. And then to the race exhaust, because I've been told the sound difference is nice. And yeah, it is. It is indeed. And so all we've done is put on tyres, and we've now pushed it over that 3,200 weight barrier. Oops. So going over to the paint shop, we've got nothing in advance, which is kind of getting to be a trend now, and only one manufacturer colour, which is this hilariously bright orange. Although they are made in white, so it made sense to go ahead and maybe add something like this as manufacturer colour, but you know, we've got the car at least. I just hoped we could do more with it. So now this car has been in 3 consecutive Forza games. It started out with Forza Horizon 3 with the GTA Spano and Spano Duracell edition. We also had the GTA Spano in Horizon 4, and now it's here in Horizon 5 as well. It's also in a few of the motorsport titles as well, but I'm not quite too sure which ones. And away we go. We've got a lot of power, a lot of cars around us, and a lot of noise. Let's go ahead and see what we can do, and whether we can get this thing out on top. Or in the very least, at least make it out alive. And that's mostly because this thing starts out in S2. And would cost you a whopping $3.58 million. Like usual, my incredible research team of me is hopefully going to go and put on screen how much that would be in pounds sterling, just for all you Brits out there. And past the GTR, there we go. So the first thing I've noticed is this thing is incredibly drifty. Maybe I should have tuned it a little bit more, because we're currently only starting 4th, and I'm hoping that we can probably get first by the end of this, but you never know. Maybe if this track had a few less turns, then we might be alright. And come on, there's a GTR right there. Can we get past them? Yes, there we go. We've only got one more GTR in front of us. Never mind, no we don't. And an Acura to our left, which is now accurately gone off the road. No, I'm not sorry for that pun. And across the line we go. We actually had quite a miracle at the end of everybody. It just happened to move out the way for us. And a wonderful first place in a time of 2 minutes 26. And here we are now back over at the upgrade shop. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and swap this thing to all-wheel drive. And while we do that, a little fun fact about the engine of this thing is it is a mid-mounted V10. I know, interesting. And it was also a modified, originally a Dodge Viper unit, so a first generation Dodge Viper engine, which also gives us, I guess, the engine sound. And then to get all of its extra power, it was modified by Elmore Engineering in Michigan, and now it's been modified by me. Okay, let's go ahead and toss on some off-road springs and dampers, because that actually does make some pretty decent drag racing cars. And we're going to make it lighter, and of course, I don't think we're going to bother with a roll cage, mostly because we're just going to be going drag racing in a straight line. I mean, after all, what's the worst that could happen? So now this thing is sat at 2,900 pounds in weight and has a whopping 1,176 brake horsepower, while sat just at the start of S2 at S2 922. Which means there is a possibility to get this thing back down into S1 if you put on drag tyres and aero. Or at least I think there is. Don't quote me on that. And now the fun bit is I have to sit here and retune this entire thing just in the vague hopes that it'll work. So I'll be right back. Well, I said this thing was known as the GTA Spano, so I think this livery fits, you know? In the meantime, let's go ahead and get a wheelie check. We've got nothing because the ground is damp. Wonderful. This is going to go fantastically, isn't it? Alright, let's go ahead and put ourselves here. We'll go on launch control. Pro can do this. Well, let's hope we are a pro at driving this thing. And away we go. Let's go ahead and see what we get out of the GTA Spano. Let's see what the Spanner can do for us today. A little bit of a glitchy moment because my Xbox One S is very unhappy, but we've got 201 through the camera, and off the end of the runway we've got ourselves 226, which is not too bad. And the brakes are actually decent. Oh, that's weird. You never know, this car could prove promising after all. In the meantime, let's go ahead and throw this thing back onto some semis. There we go, fantastic. And go ahead and throw this thing back onto its stock suspension if I can find where that is. There we go, just there. Perfect. Right, now let's go ahead and find out what the Forzathon shop for the week is. And then we'll be going off to the motorway, so stick around. So going to the Forzathon shop, we've got the Ferrari 512S, which you'll need for this week's weekly challenge, and there will be a guide out on Sunday. We've also got ourselves the navy plaid hoodie and the duck quack car horn, which sounds a bit like this. Yes, very interesting indeed. We've got ourselves the Horizon Super Wheelspin and the Ultima Evolution Coupe and the regular Horizon Wheelspin. And now, out to the motorway. Alright, here we are now at the edge on the motorway. Let's get ourselves on launch control and away we go. I want to try and see if we can hit around 230 in this thing, and if we get any quicker than that, then that is going to be, well, honestly, just fantastic. So let's go ahead and see what we've got. Although with over 1000 brake horsepower, I think we'll get there soon. And out of the speed zone we go at 256.59. There's not a traffic car in sight today, which is absolutely beautiful. And now we've got ourselves the downhill and speed cameras to go, so let's get going. Speaking of, there is the speed camera, 267.44, and going downhill 269. Do we get 270? We did for a fraction of a second, and then it vanished. But that is honestly pretty speedy for this thing. And now we've got ourselves the resident tuner who is back again, making us a drift tune this time for the GTA Spano. So let's go ahead and grab the share code of that real quick. Hopefully it should be. There it is. There is the share code. Feel free to go ahead and download that if you want. And there's also a drag tune for this thing, I believe. And here is the share code on screen for that as well. But first we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into getting the drift tune. So let's get going. Okay, now here we are with the drift build. We'll go ahead and throw it in here. Try and keep the tyres spinning, keep her sideways. And actually it does a pretty decent job of holding angle until it doesn't. And then out the other side, 38,495 points, which is actually pretty decent. And now here we go, heading back the other way, throwing this thing back in for round number 2. Let's go ahead and try and get some sideways out of it. Come on, let's keep going. We've nearly got this. There we go. And 37,448 points. Now the thing about the Spano is, even though I'm trying to drift it, it feels like it wants to keep going in a straight line and just stay gripped, which is really weird considering this is meant to be a drift tune. Also, a fun thing about this is I've made a few videos asking to see if this thing could be put back into Forza Horizon 5, and now it's here. I've got a feeling somebody from Forza might have been watching those, so yeah, if that's how this thing got back, thank you. Can you add the Vox on Amiga next? That'd be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, that is this video on the GTA Spano, or as I've got it here, the GTA Spanner. Thank you very much for watching. I'll go ahead and see you all in the next one. Check out. See ya. Soon we'll have enough cars for the whole toolbox.